We are going to bombard Amazon Seller Tribe members with
Right?
so many success stories and so many celebrations that they go, you know what? I just can't help but if I just do what they do, I'll get what they've got, right? That's all we have to
Exactly.
do. I mean, that's really the thing too.
You're
So
you're you're talking about my life-size stormtrooper, aren't you, Gay? You're saying
yes,
everyone would want to have one of those. My
everybody wants
26,000 piece
one.
Lego stormtrooper.
Nobody's touching that, he said. Guys, we're going live on Amazon Seller Tribe again because we have an awesome interview tonight with another awesome seller. I can't get over how many success stories that we've had over and over again. And we celebrate all levels of success. We really do. From the time the person makes their first $1,000 a month sales to $10,000 a month to they get to $100,000 a month, and then grow from there. We're super excited to watch sellers succeed. But this guy came to us in Amazon Seller Tribe, kind of a pre-made success story. But we have really enjoyed getting to know him, and we've really enjoyed having him in Amazon Seller Tribe. So everybody make welcome to the webinar interview tonight, Mr. Jonathan Cleater. And in this corner is a guy that knows a little bit about selling on Amazon. But let's just go back to the beginning. John, and can I call you John?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I never asked you that before.
A lot of people call me Cleater, so I'm good with all of it.
Yeah. So yeah. So most of your homeboys are calling you by your last name. So when did you get in the Amazon space? Were you are you fairly new to Amazon space, or did you come like Nate Slusher and Neater Jump and them back in the 2006, 8, 10, 12, those years?
I came, well, part of, like a lot of people, I came in like the 2014, 20, I did books in 2014 and started FBA in 2015.
What do you think really was about that time? I'm trying to look at that because so many of us will say 2014. We end up saying, yes, when I started, September 2014. What was it about that year or those couple of years that brought us over here?
Well, if you could figure out what date Chris Breen's book came out, I was not a student of him, but I was a student of people who were a student of him. Like
Gotcha.
not like I watched their YouTube videos, and when I first started, I watched every YouTube video there was on selling on Amazon. Which, to be fair, then you could actually do. Now there's so
Right.
many, but then
Right.
there was a semi-limited number, and I think people were just kind of like, you were starting to see some word of mouth evidence. When somebody you're sitting next to in a bar in Vegas says, I can really make money at this, you're much more going to believe them than a YouTube video of somebody selling something. And
Yeah.
for me, when I started finding YouTube channels that were less polished, where it was clearly real people,
Right.
they weren't offering their PL course at the end for cat scratchers,
Right.
that was crazy. I think everyone watched that video.
Uh, by
Ryan
the
Grant.
way, Jonathan is famous for his one-liner. He's cracking them all the time. You guys will enjoy him in person and in Amazon Seller Tribe. Jonathan, you've also been a real great encourager to people in our tribe. I really appreciate that because um, people sometimes have a hard enough journey. They don't need somebody putting their foot on somebody else's neck. And I've appreciated how you have been gentle and you've been generous and kind to people that are still struggling in their Amazon journey. So I appreciate that about you. Um, now he's embarrassed.
Oh, I don't know. I'm blushing behind my beard here.
He's
I've
blushing.
always seen myself as fairly sarcastic, so I appreciate that I managed to portray myself that way.
I teased my sister once. I said, there we saw that T-shirt that says, my spiritual gift is sarcasm. And so
Exactly.
she kind of used to do that. We just do that with each other, just back and forth, just to be funny. But we don't let that be a part of our lives out with other people, lest they misconstrue us. Um, but I really have appreciated um, how you have been with newer sellers. Sometimes they just don't know what they don't know, and they don't even know how to ask a good question. They don't know enough yet, and you're always very gentle with them, and I appreciate that so much. Another thing that really drew me to you is that Dan Wentworth has a huge admiration and appreciation for you.
That was an expensive bribe.
That was an expensive
That was
bribe,
expensive. And I didn't bribe him.
well
I gave
played.
Michelle stuff.
Well played. Well played. You know, Michelle does pull the strings there.
Give Michelle Harry Potter Legos.
And she's a friend for life.
She can be bought.
Now, the last time we talked, we did talk a lot about Lego sets. I learned not to say Legos.
I'm so proud because I just accidentally said it and was ashamed of myself. I was embarrassed, to be honest.
You said, so you told me, you know, you corrected me last time. We talked a lot about Lego sets. How did Lego sets do this Q4?
So well, as you know, I've mentioned many times, I have my good friend who sells Lego full time. So I sold well with the sets I had, but it was insane. He had, well, I've posted videos of his place. He was shipping, he sent a video. I should have posted it and tried, but his people were shipping about 500 sets a day. So yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Wow.
And yeah, the few sets that I did have sold like incredible. This was the go to Walmart and flip them immediately year for that.
Oh yeah.
I think there was one particular set, I'm just going to say a Star Wars set that I think everybody and their grandma and everyone I knew was selling, but it still stayed good.
Right. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Did it? Yeah. I learned some things from you on that interview, and I applied them in grabbing up some sets, and we did really well on them. You know, I've not been able to do as much RA as I have in the past because of the mom is 86, so I have to be careful I don't expose her to the COVID. But that really lit a fire for me and it helped me understand. It brought some understanding too, because you just don't know what you don't know. I've been selling on Amazon since 2014, but Lego sets really weren't my thing. And that helped create some understanding for me. So I appreciate that. So now you're in your Amazon journey coming in about 2014, 2015, something like that. And did you hit it hard and fast? Were you or were you still doing a full-time job and this was kind of a side hustle? Where were you in that?
So I hit it pretty hard and fast. I don't know how much I mentioned in the last webinar, but I had gone through some pretty awful stuff in my personal life. Awful for me, but I was just in a really tough place emotionally when I found Amazon, and so I kind of was in that, if I can't be happy, then I'm going to work hard, and one day when I am happy, I'll have something to show for it. So I just kind of dove in hook, line, and sinker. And I've always kind of said the only thing that I ever really take credit for on Amazon is that I realized a good thing when I saw it, and I said, this is the best thing ever. This is the most amazing. Like, I despise infomercials, and I don't want to sound like one, but certainly a good opportunity now. And in 2015, it was borderline insane.
It really
so
was.
I sent my first shipment, which was Lego, from my own stash because I sold on other sites at the time, and I had a whole little shop I was building selling Lego parts, kind of like my buddies but smaller. And I sent in an Amazon shipment of Lego sets, and I said, well, if they sell pretty well, you know, I'll dig into this more. And they were gone within like a day, and I was like, I was just shocked. So
took your breath away.
Yeah, exactly. So I went out and got, and again, this, unfortunately, if you're new, I apologize. It doesn't work this way anymore, but I went out and got Walgreens receipts and got myself ungated in grocery, and I hired some decent ungating service. Well, anyway, it was good for 2015. It would be very sketchy for 2020.
Don't do it now.
Yeah, don't do it now. But I got my Walgreens receipts, and I got ungated in grocery and health and personal care. And even then I had the foresight, thank God, to realize that it was going to get harder, and I needed to get ungate in as many categories as I could.
Right.
And my first grocery buy was beef jerky from Dollar Tree.
Interesting.
They were clearancing out the $4 packs, and I was selling them in bundles. So I learned expiration dates and all that. And yeah, from then on, I did my first FBA shipment in August, quit my job in November. And the criteria I used was I was losing money going to work. And I said, well, I don't want to go to work to lose money. So
that's it. When you know that time that you're spending, when I talked to Dan Earl last night, he said he's sitting at his career job and he's calculating in his mind how much money he knows he could have made if he was outsourcing. And he's like, wait, I'm losing money doing this, you know? And I think that it's a great time to know that it's time to move into full-time. Zoe, you went full-time very, very quickly, and then you just set it into high gear and just started growing fast. Were you the one-man show, or did you bring on people right away to help you? How did that look for you?
So, and if I could just add one caveat to the job thing, I know it looks amazing in movie and TV shows to, walk in and throw your badge on your boss's desk and storm out. But I would strongly suggest, unless you've got a huge pile of money put away, you do not do this. T-Mobile would still rehire me to this day if I went back, and Amazon, you never know. So keep your doors open and your jobs open.
There you go.
Right? I didn't quit and have to pay for the rest of my life. I just had that 2 or 3 week window before T-Mobile would take me back. So, a little bit of a safety net. But anyway.
Gotcha.
I apologize. I forgot the original question. You said what?
So so now you're full time in the work.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a one-man show, or do you bring on help right away? How did that look for you?
So that is one thing I did do. I pretty much brought on help, at least part-time, right away. So me and my buddy who does the Lego now, he and I started doing Amazon together. And we were prepping in the basement. Ironically, this basement, he owned the house at the time. I own it now. And we did all of our shipments out of this basement. And what we did is I had a lady who sorted Lego for me at the time. And she, bless her heart, she cried when I told her I sold all the Lego and that we were doing Amazon now, but she took over prepping shipments for me. And what we did is we actually she and I rented a house together, and she lived there and prepped, and I would just drop stuff off at the house.
Interesting.
So Brock and I did half the work here in this basement, and she did the other half, or third there, until we just kind of broke her. She was a middle-aged lady, and bless her heart, when we were dropping van after van full of shoes, she was like, John, I'm not, this is not.
He's like,
die,
He's like, tag, I'm out. Tag
right?
Something else in the game, right?
Yep, pretty much. So we at that point, and doing a Q4, prepping in my basement, I just realized how much money I was leaving on the table, and I told Brock, I said, we're never doing this again. So by the next year, we immediately, got our LLC in order, created our team, started payroll, and day one. And I will say this: if you are near your day one in that, everything you can do, payroll wise, bookkeeping wise,
right,
if you can make it as clean as you can from day one, it is so much harder to go back and do it. So
absolutely,
the less loose ends you have.
Colleen did my sister did a really great piece with me, and it's actually in Amazon Seller Tribe in the video section, talking about that very thing, making sure everything's clean from day one. So, even if you don't have a business bank account from day one, have a separate personal bank account, that everything that has to do with your business goes through there, and you never touch that money. Don't ever put it in your general account for your household or whatever, or the instant you do, the profits is going to get sucked up by something. There's always going to be a something, but if that money is not available to you, you won't spend it on a something. Instead, you roll it back into your business.
Absolutely. So, and no, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, were you well capitalized when you came into the business, and you had really great credit and loads of cash in your pockets, or how did that look for you?
I had a lot of credit card companies that were really trusting. I was someone who I was raised by a dad who was very, I don't know if you're familiar with Larry Burkett. Right. He's kind of the much less shock jock version of Dave Ramsey. Gotcha. A little more my speed. But,
yeah, exactly.
But he was very, my dad taught me money management for an early day. So even though we had no money, I at least, stayed on top of my credit score. So I was young. You figure I'd been in my mid-20s at this point. I had a pretty phenomenal credit score, and I discovered most credit card companies were on board to work with me. So yeah, I had a little bit of money saved up, and I just put everything else on a credit card. I don't know that I would advise someone to do that now or not, but I borrowed every dime that I could.
Yeah, it just depends on too, Nate Slusher said earlier, credit is definitely a two-edged sword. You can cut yourself with it, or you can cut something else with it. And
100% leverages. I suggest now, and I try even then, but try to keep like a 30 to 40% ratio at least of cash to value. And if you're not confident, you need to really keep that much higher. But my idea is, if I ever got in trouble and had to sell my inventory for cost, and I lost 20%, would I go bankrupt? Right. And I'm not going to lie.
Right.
2 weeks ago, I was $272,000 in credit card debt 2 weeks ago. Now, right now, today, zero. But for that 2 week period, right in Q4 every year, it gets just a little dicey. So
I was just, instead of calling the other day, she's saying, well, we got to pay this credit card because we buy two on the credit points and whatever. And she's got to pay this. And she said, this gonna take us down to the wire. And I said, Sissy, we go down to the wire every year. We go down to the wire every year. And then this week, then we end up with the big pile up and we're like, that works.
It does. And every year I keep a spreadsheet of all my credit cards, the cycle dates, the due dates, and I don't pay interest.
Right.
But there's always a point where, like, if that Amazon payout didn't come through, I would be in trouble. And one time I did the math and I calculated that if I was not able to pay my credit cards, the interest alone would be $40K a year. And that was terrifying. So, but so far, so good.
We're going to get to some numbers in just a minute, guys, to put that number in perspective. So grow with me here just a little bit. You started selling in 2015 full-time, right?
Correct. November of 15.
All right, November of 15. So that really doesn't count because that's just part of a year. Let's jump to 2016. Now you're full-time, full-on. And do you remember what you ended the year at sales-wise?
2016. So I was in a group at the time called the Green Room, kind of a lower key, more yard sale driven version of the tribe because everyone was pretty new back then. And we would all post sales numbers. And I was the first person to post a million screenshot, but I think it was a rolling 12-month. I think I actually did like 800,000 or 900,000 that year, that first 2016 year.
In 2016.
In 2016, yeah. And I started my LLC. I hired multiple employees.
No, wait. Let's not just fluff over that number, sweetie pie. Let's just not fluff over that number.
Well, I'm not sure it's to the penny accurate, but it was somewhere right around there.
Close enough. Boy comes over to the space full time, first year, and he ends right around 1 million smackaroonies in sales. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Well, it that year it was me and Brock, so I should put that caveat in there. Dan just put in the chat because I met Dan Haddad in the Green Room too. So along with Jameson, so there were several of us. So they can fact check me in real time. But those were some amazing years with Toys R Us. Those are the stories that I tell my kids.
Yeah, right.
Danny Tang was there too. I forgot. Yes.
I remember when. Yeah, the Baby Alive years and
the Zoomer puppy years.
The Zoomer puppy years.
Do you remember do you remember the Toys R Us exclusive?
Furby
was before my reselling years, but I do remember do you remember the Zoomer exclusive Tabby cat from Toys R Us? It came in like this rounded box and they only sold it at Toys R Us.
Oh, no, I missed that one.
I was looking it up. It's sold out on Amazon now, but it was on there a couple of weeks ago. One year I managed to get them for about $40 with all my discount. Now they're like $300 on Amazon. I wish I still had them.
Wowzer. Yeah. That still, those kind of stories happen even today. The crystal stars from last year, that were $40 or $39.99 or $49.99 at Walmart. The last one I sold a couple months ago was, I think I sold it just under $300.
Well, here's your pro tip. Take all of your returns when they come in, box them up. Don't look at them because they'll just make you sad. But in 2 years, look at them and they'll make you glad. So just eBay or Amazon. But that's just an emotional thing. It's not a logical thing.
Come on, people. Are you hearing this? Yeah. How to go from sad to glad. 2 years, right? It's not a hard thing to do. You got to do something with those inventory you have to pull back, right? You got to do something with it. Right?
Oh, I've got Sean in the chat now too. These are all Green Room people. Okay, we're having a little family reunion.
Oh, you sweet guys! Oh, you sweet, yeah. Oh well, and now all over here in Amazon Seller Tribe, dropping gold nuggets on us. So we appreciate that so much. So now, 2016, you're busting right around 1 million, and 2017 rolls around. What kind of year did you have there? Was it like riding a bucking bronco or?
So 2017 was actually, like, each year in its own way has gotten easier because, we knew more what we were doing. 2017 was our peak Toys R Us year. That's when we were like renting a U-Haul and had like a 6-man team. And it was also last year that Brock and I did Amazon together. So We did 1.9 million that year, I think, because we were really disappointed. Like we were like, if we sell some stuff at a loss, we could. But no, we didn't do it.
You can boost that number
Yeah,
up.
that temptation to fight for the number can be harmful if you push it too hard. So we took the 1.8, 1.9, and just worked with it. But yeah, it was that year. The profit margins were still way better than they are now, and we were doing crazy numbers. So that was the year that I paid off the car, paid off the student loans, and started to feel like, wow, I'm not in the call center anymore.
Come on.
Oh, and I bought my still probably favorite purchase, which is there is a brand called Caraloha. They are sheets. They are $200 for a set, which is astoundingly ridiculous to me, but they are the best sheets ever made, and I love them more than most of the things I possess. So do with that what you will.
And that's how you rewarded yourself.
That was my reward, and still.
Let's stop there for just a minute. I mean, there is a place where you do kind of have to reward yourself when you have, you roll through your year and then you get to your celebratory moment, and you got to say, I'm going to do a something. I got to celebrate this. I got to put a marker here that says, it was worth it. It was, well played, Jonathan Cleater. Well played, right?
Well, I try to, for me, and
but
I think
you would be the first person that's ever said that sheet set was your well played moment.
Well, for me, like I'm not going to say I'm not materialistic, because I'm sure I am, but I'm more like I'm a fairly simple person. Like I remodeled my house, I made it kind of comfortable how I like it. So after that, I was like, I'm good. But my first year on Amazon, I paid off my student loan. My second year, I paid off my car. My third year, I bought my first house. And then my fourth year, I bought my second house, I guess it would be something like that, which would be an investment property, or no, fifth year, which would be this year. So I got married my fourth year, bought my house the fifth year. So
okay, you
bankrupt the sixth year.
You bought your wife on your fourth year, and you bought your second house on your fifth year.
I'm glad she's not watching this. So, honestly, get this, met her through the green room too.
Sweet and smart, very smart. Now, does she work with you in the business?
So Gabriella, and certainly several of the folks in here know her as well, but she's an eBay seller. So we met at a conference in Austin, and so the second house we bought, I redid the sunroom for her. So she has a big sunroom where she does her painting and does all her eBay stuff. So she handles all my returns.
Nice. Well, that's very.
And now Sean is texting her. Sean, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, leave her alone, Sean Patrick. I'll be after you. All right. So let's fast forward to 2020, a year like no other. We can't say it enough, or we've already said it too much. I don't know.
It's been interesting.
How did you move through 2020? Doing a lot of pivoting, or were you basically doing the same thing that you've done before?
I mean, I had a lot of Lego, and this was the year to have a lot of Lego. So the annoying thing was I sold my stash, and I didn't really replenish my stash very well because it was out there to sell. It wasn't out there to buy. It was a little more challenging because we did shut down for a few weeks, kind of just trying to, in March, see if we could kind of contribute to slowing the spread down.
Right.
Which clearly didn't work out that well. But
right.
Other than that, I in some ways it's been very different. In some ways it's been very much the same. We just kind of kept on plowing on, and yeah, I wish I'd been more aggressive about puzzles in March, but
So were you affected by when Amazon said, just essentials only, that kind of thing, or were you able to move into that?
Certainly I was affected. We had already been talking about shutting down, and so we just kind of went ahead and did it. So
good time.
And then when I did get the PPP loan, I brought everybody back, and we just deep cleaned the office and organized a bunch of our back stock. So
right. And tell me about the mix of your model: OA only, RA only, or a mixture?
So I originally joined the tribe to try to improve my OA game. Right now I'm probably about 95% RA and about 5% wholesale, or 4% wholesale, maybe 1% OA. And a good chunk of that is toy holds as well. I was pretty Lego exclusive, but I've been branching out, experimenting with like Funko and a few other things just to kind of see if I have any skills or not.
Right. So when you're talking about RA, are there certain categories that you feature in your store more than others?
I do shoes and clothing throughout the year. That's what all my shoppers do for me. And then I do toys during Q4 usually. Like I hold them throughout the year, buy them throughout the year, and then sell them mostly during Q4.
Gotcha.
Not all, but I trickle them out,
Gotcha.
but mostly Q4. And then I do some beauty.
Gotcha. All right. And so now tell us about your team and how you've built your team.
So I started in 2016, and I have two ladies who work for me who don't anymore. I have never actually. All right, let me double check here and make sure I'm not saying something wrong here. I've never actually fired someone. I had two ladies that worked for me. One, it was too far of a drive, and ultimately she just couldn't do it anymore. Right. The other one, the lady who started with me, she eventually just got burnt out. She was getting older, and she got married and moved away. And she was like, "I'm sorry, Dawn, but I need a break." So we're still friends, but she went her separate way. And I hired someone to be my assistant at the time, Karen, and now Karen has been my longest employee. She's going on over 4 or 5 years with me. So she's been there since I started the LLC almost.
About her on our last interview. Oh, yeah. She's like a rock star RA shopper.
With all respect to some of you newbies, she could kick your tails. She could really tear you up. Like in a store, she has her ring scanner and she's very loud and aggressive, and she would clean your clock. Every now and then she interacts with other resellers or other people, and she gives me her opinions, and it's always quite hilarious. Or she'll be in one of the groups and she'll be like, "John, did you hear so-and-so said such and such about his employees? That's not cool, And I have to be careful what I say about employees too, because she'll read it. But and then I had Karen, and then I hired Kayla, who she kind of now, and this year I'm hoping to train her more, but she does more of an admin role, because Karen is now a totally commissioned shopper. She has her own vehicle. Her boyfriend helps her, and she just drives around buying things up, and I pay her per item. And then I have Kayla, who she runs my prep center, and she also handles some of my paperwork, and she's taking over more like monitoring some of my remote shoppers. Because I now have a shoppers in Philadelphia, Texas. Texas is kind of a partnership deal, but they shop for me as well. And I trained a guy this Q4. Well, for the last 4 months, I've been training a guy that starting in January will shop for me in Oklahoma. So they will all report to Kayla. She'll kind of track what they're doing, reconcile receipts and totals and spends. Her and the VA will. And then if everything goes according to plan, I'll just get a report. So
right. What in-store scanner app do you use, or does your team use?
We use mostly ScanPower for shoes and clothing. We will use the Amazon Seller app occasionally for things like home goods.
Right.
ScanPower is awesome, and I think probably the best, but is also probably the most. It has the guy who runs it, Paul, is an awesome guy.
Right.
But I get the impression it's a smaller team that runs it. So if I need help or have a suggestion, he'll fix it really quickly. But there are occasionally bugs out in the field where I have to get around. But he's still created the best app. So I mean, I've met him many times. He's an awesome guy. But it is, if you are newer and don't need it, and you are paying for Inventory Lab anyway, use Scoutify. Use Scoutify. But if you're doing a lot of parent-child listings, which shoe and clothing are, it's absolutely worth the money. And I have shoppers and multiple buy lists.
Variations are real key on with ScanPower. But if you don't understand variations, or that doesn't matter to you, then. But the actual scanner itself, when you're trying to scan the littlest bittiest tidbit of a barcode, I just love how it picks that up too. So I'm very positive on ScanPower.
ScanPower is fantastic, and I have the multiple buy lists and multiple employees scanning into those buy lists, and VAs pulling those lists and double checking. So I need something that's pretty robust.
Right, that's nice. Very, very, very nice. Now you talked about earlier bringing somebody, having Kayla, I think you said, more within the admin and taking care of the backside of your account. Is she dealing with problem solving in the backside of your account, or are you talking about more for bookkeeping and those sorts of things?
So I currently use a paid service that handles, I don't want to say the name if that's, but I use a paid service that handles a lot of my like stranded inventory and things of that nature. That's a fairly common one in the space. But she would handle more on the employee side, more the user input side, where I have to monitor, and we have a system for returns, but sometimes we get sloppy and they pile up and everything. And I do want to say with returns, I pretty much only do returns if it is something that is the store's fault and we missed it. I have personal issues. If you're the kind of person who says, this item didn't sell well, I'm going to return it. You're a business, they're a business, take the hit. Now, like for me, when I was spending 6 figures at a store, if I buy $100,000 plus a day from Toys R Us and I did $100 return because something went restricted, I'm
Mm.
still giving them a way better return percentage than the average
Yeah.
customer would give
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
But even that, honestly, I didn't feel,
Right.
I
Didn't
felt
feel
squishy
right
about
about
it.
that. Right.
But yeah, to just buy it because something wasn't profitable to return it is just,
Right.
it,
There is a
I
code
lose
of
respect for someone a
ethics that we should
little
have.
bit.
I mean, we should respect the fact that we are making a living off of retail.
If you
We
wouldn't
need
want it done to you,
come on.
if someone bought all of my inventory and then returned a few things, I'd be okay with it. But if they bought one SKU and returned it, that would be a problem.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So what do you think that younger or newer sellers? You've been around the space for a long time. What they run into? What advice would you give them? Maybe that you wish somebody had given you back in the day, and would have helped you.
Well, the ironic thing about now is it is harder as it is more competitive inventory wise, but it's a lot easier as far as there's a lot more resources and a lot more networking. When I first started, I worked 2 jobs to kind of build my capital, before I quit. Um, and then at night, I would just watch YouTube videos for like 3 or 4 hours. And the biggest thing you can really do in Amazon, or really any business, I think, is because, if you just watched, I don't know, I'm going to go old school. If you watch Carlton Sheets, he makes real estate sound really easy. I don't know if you remember him. His cassette
Yeah.
tapes are everywhere.
Yeah.
But you don't know if he's telling you the truth or not, if it's good
Right.
advice or not. So what I found is if I watched 8 different people talk about retail arbitrage on YouTube, by the time I got done, my BS detector was really good. Like if
Right.
someone was just making stuff up or if someone was dramatic or exaggerating,
Right.
I could kind of, use so I would strongly suggest if you're newer that you really try to, get multiple sources, research as much as you can. And then I think probably the bigger thing is just, strike that balance between being aggressive but being smart, because you have to, I don't know how to word it other than to say you
Gary
work smarter, not harder.
Gary talks about fear versus greed.
Yeah.
And he does a really great job with that session. But there is a place where you have to recognize what kind of person you are. And when you bring that into business, how that affects what you're doing in your business. And then start working on your weak areas. What would you say is your weakest area?
Certainly there are things I could have done to be better about the back end of my account, like stranded inventory and things like that. Up until this year, I really did try to get the handle on it and actually hire someone to do it. But bookkeeping, I've always done my own taxes and my own bookkeeping, and that would be quite a bit of work. Which, ironically, I've always noticed that resellers seem to file their taxes late, like file for an extension dramatically more than the average person. I have never done that. I've tried to discipline myself not to do it. And then I've always wondered if rushing to give the government their money when I could be making more money for myself, maybe that was a flaw in me,
Right. It is a good thing. Should I? Right.
But every year there's gambles. I buy a toy and I wish I had gotten 400 instead of 200 or 600 instead of, this year was easier because with the 200 limit, unless I wanted to FBM it, but most years there's always a few things I wish I had trusted my own judgment more.
Right. Yeah, we all have that. I think we could all raise our hand and say, rats.
Right.
If I only had been a prophet, I would have seen that one.
Well, I think reselling is a lot like playing Texas Hold'em. You have to realize that you're going to lose some hands and you have to be mathematical. If you are consistent and don't let your emotions get in the way and you always bet the good hands, you're going to win more than you lose. And the whole idea is to come out, 60 or 70% ahead.
Yeah, and generally, if you follow the data, you will win more than you
You'll
lose.
win more than you lose, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the Keepa data, bestseller rank, sales data is not perfect, but it gives us some key indicators.
And some basic common sense, because I've noticed some people are really good about the data, but if you're looking at something not on clearance in Walmart, at least consider that a lot of other people could be looking at it in their Walmarts as well.
Right. Yeah, so you do have to kind of use some of that common sense. But data is good. I like data, especially in January when prices start tanking, and you've got to know how to dance through that. So now let's get to December 23rd, 2020. You've survived the year of a global pandemic. And in surviving the year of global pandemic, you've actually grown your numbers.
Well, e-commerce is definitely year to be in e-commerce. Like I don't feel like I can take credit for that because like the world kind of did that for me.
You think it just happened because of the pandemic? You think it just happened anyway?
I showed up for batting practice. I made sure I had my right baseball, but like I didn't throw that fat one over the over the over the plate. So yes, I mean obviously being there and being ready is a factor, but I think it would be pretty arrogant for me to be like, oh yeah, in a year when RA online shopping was up 20-30%, I just, was a genius.
Yeah. Well, actually, you're pretty close to genius. Let's talk about your numbers. What if you looked at your sales numbers right now for the year 2020, what would it show you for rolling 12 or your year to date, whichever one you want to share?
I know year to date, the last time I looked, I was just over 3 million. So like 3,070,000 or something like that.
What did you say?
Just over 3 million.
See, Jonathan, you're humble. I like that. I like that. It's not really my fault, he says. The online shopping was up anyway. It's not my fault that I made over 3 million in sales on Amazon.
I'll give you Karen's number. You can call her. She can she
Do
can
what?
take the credit for it.
Karen did it.
I owe her a lot of credit. $3,085,905. That's where I'm at year to date.
And the crowd goes wild, and the balloons fall from the sky, and the confetti goes. And Jonathan Cleater has his student loans paid off. He's not tied to a 9 to 5. He works whenever he wants to. He's got a team built. He has trustworthy employees. He's made some really smart business decisions.
And he has some cool sheets.
And he has some cool sheets. What are you going to buy yourself for 2020? If the epitome of reward is a $200 set of sheets, what are you going to do this year, Jonathan?
Well, earlier in the year, I purchased a second house for hold inventory, but I purchased a house that also had a pool. So in a lot of ways, the pool was my gift to myself because, I can go over, we can work a few hours, take a swim, my employees enjoy it as well. So I'm like, if you want to swim on your lunch break, I can.
I bet they do.
And we, each year we do, like this year we did, each year we do a Christmas party. Obviously this year, unfortunately, I couldn't really have them bring their families and we had to keep it small. So what we did was we went to like 8 restaurants and we brought like all the food from all the, cheesecakes from Cheesecake Factory,
Gotcha.
Wraps from Applebee's. And we just had a big, kind of a potluck, but I paid for it all. Nice. And I gave them all little gifts and did stuff like that. So, we enjoy moments like that. But I think this year the house was probably because honestly, I'm stacking cash for 2021 because I got to be ready to.
Come on.
I haven't attained the status of tribal younger yet. So, I gotta. Is there a point if I get close enough to Dan when there can be like a secondary seat?
We'll definitely give you the title.
All right, I gotta. Now, there's a few people in the group I gotta catch, and I will say I am extremely competitive as a person. So
come on, do it. I love it.
Would you, if you don't mind, speaking of competitive, and I got permission to discuss this with you before the call.
Go ahead.
You're holding us accountable, Gay. Me and Matthew.
Yeah.
Are having a competition this coming year. So here's how the competition will work. You're welcome to tell us if you feel our smack talk goes too far because he and I both do enjoy the smack talk. But I'm giving him a 25% handicap basically.
Okay.
So in other words, if he sells $750,001 and I sell $1 million, he wins.
Okay.
Gotcha. Add 25% to whatever
he's starting behind you. I mean, he's
he's a little bit behind me, so I'm giving him a little bit of a. And the idea is whatever my final total is at the end of the year, minus 25%. If it's more than his total, I win. If his is more, he wins. The winner or the loser has to fly to the home of the winner or drive and purchase them a expensive Ruth Chris $200 or $300 caliber type dinner. And obviously the shame and humiliation heaped upon them in public will be a factor as well. But,
Huge.
That's
beautiful.
And so, Gay, we just need you to go live and be like,
well,
I'm very disappointed in whoever loses.
I will pour on the shame and humiliation to the loser. And I will pour on effusive exultation.
There we go. Hope you're ready for this, Matt. You have 7 more days to sleep when the war begins.
And then 2021, he's gunning for you. Nope, you're gunning for him, actually.
I don't know. With that handicap, I think it's pretty even.
I love it. I love it. I want to have that. We got to track that one. And then we definitely have to get somebody to film it live and in person whenever it happens. I wonder if he's ever been to Chattanooga, Tennessee in December.
Ironically, Mr. DeGlopper actually lived in Chattanooga
Oh,
for a
that's
while and moved
right.
to
He
Michigan, so he does
moved
know the
from
area. Yeah,
there. So now he's up there in the cold
but he's
climate.
going to be coming back for a visit. Get excited because it's happening.
That's awesome. That's so fun. So
I don't want to go to Michigan in the winter. I really
yeah,
don't. It's cold.
You don't want to. You don't want
Maybe I
to.
can put. Maybe if he wins, I can push it to summer because that's awfully cold.
No, you have to go. You have to go in
Mm.
December. Yeah, that's your punishment. Yeah.
All
All right.
You hear that, Matt? Living where you live is being considered a punishment now. I just want to let you know this is happening.
Yeah,
We
that's
just lost a Midwest gay.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I am so thrilled for your success and your growth. And you've done it smart, thoughtful, deliberate. I like how instead of buying, Fat Cat Warehouse somewhere, you talk about buying another home and using that in business. Smart, smart. Wow. Dropping gold nuggets here, folks, in Amazon Seller Tribe. And we have a great one with Jonathan Cleater. Jonathan, thank you for spending this time with me tonight. And notice this, as far as I know, we did not have any tech glitches this time. You were so kind. Last time we had so many glitches and didn't throw any stones at me. I appreciate that so much. You've been a great member of Amazon Seller Tribe. Sean Patrick, Jameson Philippi, some of you other hot shots out there, Dan Earl, those of you out there that's been with Jonathan before, know what a great joy he is to have in your life, even if it's you taking pot shots.
Turn the comments off. Turn the comments off. They might express some other opinion.
Yeah.
And I do want to say I see Linda there, so I just want to say a quick shout out and thank you to Linda. She went above and beyond for everybody this year, so I think it's very important to say we appreciate her because I don't want to sound arrogant, but most things FBA related I'm pretty familiar with, but FBM a little more hazy. So if she would just teach me how to get these people to leave me alone about their packages. I'd fly to New Jersey and buy her dinner, but she's been awesome.
She has been awesome. She really has. She's helped so many people keep their business going during difficult times this year.
We should all send her a bolo as a thank you, maybe 2.
Come on, or a big box of chocolate, right?
Oh, there's Rex. Now Rex was in the green room too. This is ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, Rex. I got to get him on camera too. Our Springfield guys. You notice in Amazon Seller Tribe, all of our Springfield people are $1 million+ sellers. So that's just right up the road from me. So I'm thinking somehow it has to do with me. I'm not sure, but probably not. Yeah, probably
well,
not.
We may have to, if you have time, stop in for lunch or something. I'll be through Springfield probably, or pretty close to there. Every year after Christmas, I drive out to see my grandpa in Oklahoma, which obviously on my way to him, and I try to be super careful and I won't make any stops, but he's spent this year pretty much alone, him and grandma. So I'm going to go and see them, and then I'll be driving back through your way. So if not, I'll just source some of your stores on the way home,
Oh, Rex, did you hear that? Get the tomahawk.
Leave me some good stuff, Rex. And if anyone else would like to get in on our competition, I'm happy to hand out that 25% handicap to anyone else. And you can all visit Chattanooga. I can eat more than one meal.
Yeah, note to self, he's not going to give that 25% handicap to you, Dan Wentworth. So you're just...
Yeah, no, I think probably not. And I don't think Derek Wagner gets it either.
He doesn't
since the number is not shared, I'm not going to share it, but there's at least one other tribe member who we were talking about before. I'm not giving it to either.
Not going to give it to him either.
Probably take his money some other way,
Yeah, you'll get his money some other way. Hey, Jonathan, I love spending time with you. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for spending time with us tonight in this interview. Congratulations on your $3 million+ year. What an amazing year 2020 has been. And you just keep proving the point over and over again. Love having you in Amazon Seller Tribe.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. Merry Christmas to you and your wife.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.